6 Buddhist teachings to stop overthinking and find inner peace. Hello and welcome to Zen Buddhism Wisdom. Today, we are diving into a topic that affects us all, the trap of overthinking. Have you ever felt like your mind is running in circles, replaying past conversations, worrying about the future, or obsessing over every tiny decision? It's exhausting, isn't it? Overthinking is like an invisible storm, constantly brewing inside us, stealing our peace and clouding our clarity. But what if you could break free? In this video, we'll uncover 6 powerful Buddhist teachings that will help you silence the endless chatter of your mind and bring true inner peace. By the end, you'll not only understand why overthinking happens, but also learn practical ways to let go, live mindfully, and find deep mental clarity. Are you ready to begin? Let's dive in. 1. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. Focus on the present moment. One of the greatest sources of human suffering is our tendency to live anywhere but the present. We cling to the past, replaying old mistakes and regrets, or we obsess over the future, worrying about what might happen. Buddhism teaches us that both of these tendencies are illusions, mental constructs that prevent us from experiencing the only moment that truly exists. Right now, the Buddha once said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." But why is this teaching so powerful? Because the past no longer exists, and the future has not yet arrived. Yet, despite knowing this, logically, we allow our minds to be consumed by things that are outside our control. Imagine being locked inside a prison cell, but the door is wide open. You have the freedom to step outside and experience the fresh air, the open sky, and the warmth of the sun. Yet, instead of walking out, you sit inside, staring at the cold walls, trapped in a prison of your own making. This is exactly what we do when we ruminate on the past or worry about the future. The present moment is the open door, but we refuse to step through it. Instead, we chain ourselves to memories, regrets, fears, and what-ifs. Ask yourself, how many times have you replayed an embarrassing moment from years ago? How often do you worry about something that hasn't even happened yet? Have any of these thoughts ever truly helped you? Most likely, the answer is no. These thoughts don't serve us. They drain us. ... They rob us of our ability to fully live. Let me share a simple metaphor. Imagine a man carrying a heavy backpack filled with large stones. Each stone represents a past, regret, a painful memory, or a worry about the future. The weight of the backpack slows him down, making every step harder than it needs to be. He could put it down at any moment, but he doesn't. He believes he must carry this burden, that it is somehow necessary. He tells himself, "If I let go of my regrets, I will forget the lessons. If I stop worrying about the future, I won't be prepared." But one day, exhausted, he finally decides to drop the backpack, and something incredible happens. He feels light, free, and able to move forward with ease. The truth is, we don't need to carry the weight of the past or the uncertainty of the future. We can set it down. We can choose to be free. It's easy to say, live in the present. But how do we actually do it? Here are 3 practical techniques. The first step to overcoming overthinking is awareness. Whenever you catch yourself lost in thought, whether it's about the past or the future, pause and ask yourself, what is happening right now? Where am I? What do I hear, see, feel at this very moment? This simple act of redirecting your focus to the present brings you back to reality. Your breath is a natural anchor to the present moment. It's always with you, always happening now. Whenever your mind starts racing, stop for a moment and take a slow, deep breath. Feel the air entering your lungs. Feel it leaving. Do this a few times and notice how your thoughts begin to settle. A great technique is box breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. This instantly calms the nervous system and brings you back to the present. Often, we live on autopilot, eating while scrolling on our phones, walking while lost in thought, talking to people but not really listening. Mindfulness is about fully engaging with whatever you're doing. Try this when you eat. Really taste your food. Notice the flavors, the textures, the warmth. When you walk, feel each step. Notice the sensation of your feet on the ground. When you listen to someone, really listen without thinking about what you'll say next. The more you train yourself to be fully present, the less power your thoughts will have over you. Overthinking is like a storm. It can feel overwhelming, chaotic, and never-ending. But the moment you bring your focus back to now, the storm begins to settle. Remember, the past is a memory. Learn from it, but don't live in it. The future is uncertain. Prepare for it, but don't obsess over it. The present is the only place where life truly happens. So the next time you find yourself trapped in an endless cycle of overthinking, take a deep breath, let go of the mental baggage, and step fully into the only moment that matters. This one. 2. Thoughts are like clouds. Let them pass without clinging. Have you ever felt trapped inside your own mind, endlessly cycling through the same thoughts, worries, and doubts? It's as if your brain is stuck in overdrive, replaying past mistakes, imagining future disasters, or analyzing every tiny detail of your life. The Buddha taught that our thoughts are not who we are. They are simply passing phenomena, like clouds drifting across the sky. But the problem is that we don't just let our thoughts pass, we cling to them, believe them, and let them define our reality. But what if you didn't have to be at the mercy of your thoughts? What if you could simply watch them come and go without being dragged into their storm? Imagine sitting by a river, watching the water flow. You notice leaves drifting downstream. Some are small and delicate, others large and heavy. Some float gently, while others swirl chaotically. But no matter how many leaves appear, the river keeps flowing, never holding on to a single one. Now, imagine that each leaf represents a thought. When a thought enters your mind, do you immediately grab onto it, analyze it, and let it consume you? Or can you simply observe it, acknowledge it, and let it pass? Most of us do the former. We become entangled in our thoughts, believing that they define us, ... But just like leaves in a river, our thoughts are temporary. They arise, they drift, and they disappear unless we hold on to them. Buddhism teaches us that suffering comes from attachment, and one of the strongest attachments we have is to our own thoughts. Think of your mind as the sky. Some days it is clear and peaceful. Other days, dark clouds roll in, bringing storms of anxiety, self-doubt, and overthinking. But here's the key. No matter how dark the storm, the sky itself is never damaged. The clouds may be thick, the rain may pour, but above it all, the sky remains vast, untouched, and open. Your true nature is like the sky, calm, vast, and unshaken. Your thoughts are just passing clouds. Some are light and pleasant. Others are dark and heavy, but none of them define you. So why do we suffer? Because we forget that we are the sky. We mistake ourselves for the clouds. The reason we struggle with overthinking is that we believe our thoughts are real. If a thought appears in our mind, we assume it must be important, meaningful, or true. But thoughts are simply mental events. They are not reality. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's true. Just because you worry about something doesn't mean it will happen. Just because your mind is racing doesn't mean you are in danger. Our thoughts are like echoes, fleeting, impermanent, and often distorted. But we give them power by believing in them, replaying them, and allowing them to control our emotions. In Buddhist teachings, there is a story about two arrows. The Buddha said that when life brings suffering, it is like being struck by an arrow. But then we shoot ourselves with a second arrow. Our reaction to the suffering. For example, imagine you make a mistake at work. That is the first arrow. It happens and it stings. But then your mind starts replaying the mistake, criticizing yourself, and imagining worst-case scenarios. That is the second arrow, the unnecessary suffering we create through overthinking. The first arrow is often unavoidable, but the second arrow, that is entirely in our control. If you want to stop overthinking, you must train yourself to let go of unnecessary thoughts. The next time you catch yourself overthinking, imagine your thoughts as leaves floating down a river. Instead of grabbing onto each one, just watch them drift away. Tell yourself, this is just a thought. It is not reality. I don't need to engage with this thought like a leaf on the water. I can let this thought go. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to detach from overthinking. Instead of becoming immersed in your thoughts, try labeling them. When a thought appears, name it. This is worry. This is self-doubt. This is overanalyzing. By labeling your thoughts, you create distance from them. You stop identifying with them and start seeing them for what they really are. Just passing mental events. Many people try to suppress or fight their thoughts, but this only makes them stronger. Instead, treat them like background noise. Acknowledge their presence, but don't give them your full attention. For example, imagine sitting in a cafe and you hear people talking at another table. You notice their voices, but you don't focus on their conversation. You let it be. Do the same with your thoughts. When an anxious or repetitive thought arises, simply notice it and let it fade into the background. Overthinking is like carrying a heavy chain around your neck. Every thought you cling to adds another link, weighing you down. But the moment you let go, you realize something. You are always free. You don't have to believe every thought. You don't have to react to every worry. You don't have to be a prisoner of your own mind. The sky is always there, vast and unshaken, no matter how many clouds appear. So the next time your mind starts racing, Take a deep breath. Look at your thoughts like passing clouds or leaves in a river. Smile and let them drift away. 3. Overthinking is one of the greatest sources of suffering. We convince ourselves that if we just analyze everything enough, we can prevent failure, avoid disappointment, and ensure that life unfolds exactly as we want. But the truth is, no matter how much we try to control every detail, life is unpredictable. People change, circumstances shift, unexpected challenges arise, and the more we try to grasp onto certainty, the more we suffer. Buddhism teaches that suffering is not caused by external events, but by our reactions to them. The Buddha once said, "Suffering is not caused by the events in our lives, but by our reaction to them." This means that our pain often comes not from what happens to us, but from our resistance, our attachments, and our endless battle to control what cannot be controlled. If we learn to let go, we free ourselves from the burden of overthinking and unnecessary suffering. We tend to believe that if we just try hard enough, we can control everything: how others behave, how situations unfold, even how life itself plays out. But this is an illusion. Think about the things you worry about. What if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if something bad happens? Now ask yourself, can I truly control these outcomes? You cannot control what other people think of you. You cannot predict the future. With certainty, you cannot force life to go exactly as you planned. Yet, we spend so much mental energy worrying about these things, replaying scenarios in our heads, analyzing every possibility, trying to grasp what is ultimately out of our hands. And what does this overthinking bring us? Stress, anxiety, exhaustion. There is a Zen story about a man who spent his days pushing a massive boulder up a steep hill. He strained, he struggled, he poured all his energy into the task. But no matter how hard he pushed, the boulder would not move. One day, a wise monk passed by and asked, "Why are you pushing a boulder that does not move?" Frustrated, the man replied, "I have to move it, or else I will fail." The monk smiled gently and said, "Sometimes the wisest action is to let go." The man paused. He stepped back, took a deep breath, and released his grip. In that moment, he realized that he had been fighting an unwinnable battle, and with that realization came relief. How many times in life are we like the man pushing the boulder? We struggle against reality, trying to force things that refuse to be forced, unwilling to accept that some things are simply beyond our control. But here's the truth: peace does not come from controlling everything. It comes from learning what to hold on to and what to let go of. Many people resist the idea of letting go because they confuse it with giving up. But these are not the same thing. Giving up means surrendering to despair, believing there is no hope. Letting go means releasing unnecessary suffering, accepting what is, and focusing on what you can change. It is not passive, it is empowering. It means choosing where to direct your energy, instead of wasting time trying to control the uncontrollable. You focus on what is actually within your power, your thoughts, your actions, and your attitude. Overthinking is like carrying a heavy chain around your neck. Every unnecessary thought, every attempt to control the uncontrollable adds another link to the chain. weighing you down. But the moment you let go, you realize something profound. You are always free. You don't have to hold on to every worry. You don't have to predict every outcome. You don't have to control everything to be at peace. The world will keep moving, with or without your constant analysis. So the next time your mind starts racing, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Can I truly control this? What happens if I just let it go? You might be surprised to find that peace was there all along, waiting for you to stop overthinking and embrace the flow of life. 4. Practice mindfulness. In a world filled with distractions, constant noise, and endless thoughts, pulling us in different directions, mindfulness offers a way to reconnect with the present moment. It is the art of paying full attention to what is happening right now, without judgment or resistance, and the simplest yet most powerful way to cultivate mindfulness is through breath awareness. The Buddha taught, when the mind is calm, the breath is calm. This means that by anchoring our attention to the breath, we can quiet the storms of the mind. Our breath is always with us, steady, reliable, and present, no matter where we are or what we are experiencing. The breath is something we can always return to. Think of your breath as an anchor in a stormy sea. When the waves of overthinking crash against you, fears about the future, regrets about the past, worries that seem to spiral out of control, your breath remains steady. It is always there, grounding you, reminding you that no matter how turbulent the mind may feel, there is always something stable to return to. But why is breath so important? The breath and the mind are deeply connected. When we are anxious or overwhelmed, our breath becomes shallow and rapid. When we are at peace, our breath is slow and deep. By consciously slowing down and focusing on the breath, we send signals to the brain that it is safe to relax. This simple act has the power to transform our state of mind within moments. Imagine this. You are standing in the middle of a storm, the wind howling, the rain pounding against your skin. If you try to fight the storm, pushing against the wind, resisting the rain, you only exhaust yourself. But if you simply take a deep breath, plant your feet firmly on the ground, and remain still, the storm may continue, but you are no longer lost in it. This is the power of mindfulness. Life will always bring storms, challenges, uncertainties, stress, but if you can stay anchored in the present moment, through the breath, you will not be carried away by the chaos. So how can you practice this? It begins with something incredibly simple, just noticing your breath. Right now, take a deep inhale. Feel the air entering your lungs. Hold it for a moment, then slowly exhale. Pay attention to the sensation of the air leaving your body. Do this a few more times, focusing solely on the breath. You might notice that your mind starts to wander. This is completely natural. The key is not to fight it. Instead of judging yourself for getting distracted, simply bring your attention back to your breath, again and again, like returning home. Mindfulness is not about having a perfectly empty mind. It is about noticing when the mind wanders and gently bringing it back. Over time, this practice trains you to stay present. The more you do it, the more you realize that you do not have to be controlled by every thought or worry that arises. You can simply observe them, like clouds passing in the sky, and then return to the breath. Another powerful way to incorporate mindfulness into daily life is to turn simple activities into moments of deep awareness. When you eat, truly taste the food. Notice the texture, the flavor, the sensation of chewing. When you walk, feel each step, how your foot touches the ground, the rhythm of your movement. When you listen to someone speak, give them your full attention, without planning your response, without letting your mind drift elsewhere. Every moment of life offers an opportunity to practice presence. Many people believe they don't have time for mindfulness, but the truth is, mindfulness does not require extra time. It is not something separate from life. It is how we experience life. You do not need to sit in meditation for hours to benefit from mindfulness. Just a few minutes of conscious breathing each day can significantly reduce stress, improve focus, and create a deeper sense of inner peace. The next time you find yourself caught in the whirlwind of overthinking, feeling lost in the endless stream of thoughts, pause. Take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your body, filling your lungs, then slowly releasing. At that moment, you are not in the past. You are not in the future. You are here now. This is mindfulness. This is peace. And it is always within reach. 5. Simplicity is freedom. Stop complicating life with unnecessary worries. In our modern world, life has become increasingly complicated. We are constantly bombarded with information, expectations, and endless choices. We chase after success, wealth, and approval, believing that these things will bring us happiness. But Buddhism teaches that true freedom is not found in accumulating more. It is found in letting go. The more we simplify, the more peaceful and fulfilled we become. The Buddha said, "There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path." This means that happiness is not something we must struggle to attain. It is already here, in this very moment, if we choose to embrace it. But the reason so many people feel unhappy is that they overcomplicate life with unnecessary worries. They hold on to things they don't need, whether it's material possessions, unhealthy relationships, or limiting beliefs. They stress over things they cannot control, and in doing so, they create their own suffering. Imagine a traveler walking through a beautiful forest. The path is clear and peaceful, but instead of enjoying the journey, the traveler insists on carrying a heavy load. Bags filled with things he doesn't need. His back aches, his steps become slower, and he starts to resent the journey. But the moment he chooses to put down the bags, he feels light, free, and able to fully enjoy the beauty around him. This is exactly what happens in our lives. We carry too much, too many worries, too many unnecessary desires, too many self-imposed burdens. But when we simplify, when we let go of the things that do not serve us, we create space for true joy. A Zen master once taught his students, the simpler the life, the more profound the meaning. Many people live their entire lives chasing after things that don't truly matter. Prestige, material wealth, validation from others. They believe that if they just achieve one more thing, buy one more possession, or receive one more compliment, they will finally be happy. But this is an illusion. The truth is, Happiness is found in appreciating the simple moments, a quiet morning, a deep conversation, a single breath of fresh air. So how can we apply this teaching? It starts with identifying what is truly important and letting go of the rest. Ask yourself, what worries am I holding on to that are unnecessary? What distractions are preventing me from living fully? What possessions, obligations, or expectations can I release? One of the simplest ways to simplify life is to focus on what truly matters: your well-being, your relationships, and your inner peace. Prioritize self-care. Nurture meaningful connections. Let go of the need to impress others. Recognize that you do not need to have everything figured out. Life unfolds naturally when we stop forcing it. Another powerful practice is decluttering, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Clear your space of unnecessary items that add stress rather than value. But more importantly, declutter your mind. Let go of resentment. Release the need for constant control. Stop overanalyzing things that have already happened or may never happen at all. When your mind is clear, your heart becomes light. The paradox of life is that the less we cling, the more we receive. The less we complicate, the more we understand. The less we chase, the more we experience. Freedom is not found in adding more to life. It is found in removing what is not needed. The next time you feel overwhelmed, pause and ask yourself, am I making this more complicated than it needs to be? Can I let go of this thought, this expectation, this worry? Simplicity is not about deprivation. It is about clarity. And in that clarity, true peace begins to flourish. 6. Trust in impermanence. Nothing lasts forever, not even your struggles. Life is like a river, constantly flowing, never still. Everything you experience, whether joy or sorrow, success or failure, love or loss, is part of this ever-moving stream. The Buddha taught that impermanence is the fundamental nature of existence. Nothing stays the same. The good times will pass, but so will the difficult moments. Your pain, your worries, your struggles. They are not permanent. They are like clouds drifting across the sky, appearing for a moment before dissolving into nothingness. But here's the problem. We resist this truth. When we're happy, we cling to that happiness, fearing it will slip away. When we're in pain, we convince ourselves that the suffering will never end. But impermanence is both a warning and a promise. It reminds us not to take joy for granted, but also reassures us that no hardship is forever. There's an old story of a king who asked his wisest advisor to give him a phrase that would always be true. No matter the situation, the advisor handed him a ring, inscribed with the words, "This too shall pass." When the king was victorious, he looked at the ring and remembered not to become arrogant. When he faced defeat, he read the inscription and found the strength to endure. This is the essence of impermanence. No matter what you are going through, it will pass. The storms in your life may rage, but they will eventually calm. The sun will shine again, and just like the king, when you embrace this truth, you gain resilience in hard times and wisdom in good times. So how do you apply this teaching in your own life? First, when you're suffering, remind yourself, this is temporary. No emotion, no hardship, no setback lasts forever. Just as the seasons change, so will your circumstances. Second, let go of attachment. Enjoy happiness when it comes, but don't grasp at it. Understand that life is always shifting, and true peace comes from accepting that. Finally, find comfort in the flow of time. The present moment is always evolving. If you feel stuck, know that change is inevitable. Trust that the universe is in motion, and so are you. Once you truly internalize the nature of impermanence, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. You stop clinging to what cannot stay, and you stop fearing what is yet to come. Instead, you learn to live fully in each moment, knowing that everything, both the beautiful and the painful, is just passing through. Breaking free from overthinking isn't about stopping your thoughts. It's about changing your relationship with them. By applying these 6 Buddhist teachings, you can step out of the endless cycle of mental chatter and find true inner peace. Live fully in the present moment, because the past is gone and the future hasn't arrived. Let thoughts come and go without attachment. They are just passing clouds in the sky. Release the illusion of control. Some things are beyond your power, and that's okay. Anchor yourself in mindfulness and breath. Your breath is always there to guide you back. Embrace simplicity. True freedom comes from letting go of unnecessary worries. Trust in impermanence. Nothing lasts forever, not even your struggles. Now, it's time to put these teachings into practice. Start small. Be patient with yourself, and soon you'll experience a lighter, calmer, and more peaceful mind. This video comes to an end here. How do you feel about today's lesson? Drop a comment below and let me know. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss more insightful content on Zen wisdom. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.